Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick look here at Avalanche, seeing what's going on. We're going to talk about, well, the big picture. Honestly, we want to kind of look at where we're at on the macro side of things, but also identify if there's any good opportunities to get into the market right now. General consensus is no. Long positions are kind of almost forbidden at this point until we have strong confirmational factors. And based on a lot of things here, we're looking at a good 24 to 48 hours before we have long confirmation on most coins. There's some exceptions, of course, out there, but we'll double check that here as well. So if you're new to the channel, just know, not a financial advisor. I love teaching people to trade. Been trading for a very long time, over 20 years now, and it's been a very rewarding experience to be able to work with awesome, like-minded traders. So if you want to kind of have that for yourself, jumping over to our Discord, we've got a really good group of traders here, and I can tell you it's just a phenomenal experience. Everyone being able to work with some like-minded individuals is super helpful. Kind of, temperature check things, make sure that you're on the right side of the tracks, right? That's what we like to do here. Quick congrats to our community members too. We took some profits this morning from Matic, 53%, ETH 63% on a short. These are all shorts, by the way. Bitcoin 51%, ICP 47%. Those were yesterday afternoon. So again, some nice profits there. I do think it's going to start slowing down to the downside soon, pending Bitcoin can close at 39,000 or higher. Because honestly, that's a kind of a point of contention there with that CME gap. Watch my Bitcoin video if you're ever curious about what I mean by that. Because again, it's like, oh, why is Avalanche dumping? Well, the whole market's dumping because Bitcoin decides it wants to sell off, 5% in 4 hours, right? So again, pretty nasty morning here, to say the least. So let's take a quick look at some key factors here. On the daily time frame, just to quickly note, keep in mind, we do have a nice Elliott Wave pattern forming here. Most coins are exuding similar behavior. So on the macro, if this is the lowest point, our next high should be higher than the previous high. In other words, we should be able to break $50 at some point once we hit our lowest point, okay? Interesting, it has to come down almost halfway though. That's almost 50% correction from the top. It's pretty significant. But no matter how you look at it, we are going to experience some kind of higher high at one point. It may not come right away, but it could and should occur. The same thing goes for Bitcoin as well. Okay, so it's just a natural correction, natural stuff happening here, folks. Try not to worry yourself too much. But we can see we're overextended at a 9, and we had our 10th and hopefully final last day that worked all the way down to this support range at $27. I did mention between 27 and 28. I think 27.50, if I recall correctly, was that kind of that support level there based on previous one-day candlestick closures. So keep in mind, we could be at the bottom, but we never want to presume. There is a chance we could see a little bit more downside because there's a strong volume profile between 20 and 24. That will more likely than not be a support level for us. We don't have a tremendous amount of volume in this current range, so that's my only concern. This support level is just a tentative number at this point, not a guarantee. Quickly to note here, with liquidation, there's not a ton of liquidation here at the to the downside. Most of it's been swept. We can see all these late longs getting destroyed. This is roughly, again, the last 7 days. Keep in mind, if we take a look at the monthly, probably tell us a slightly different story. Actually, really not all that much, honestly. It just shows here that we have a lot of liquidation on the downside, and furthermore, 37 and 44 are the two heavy concentrations if you exclude a small amount, about $33, $34. So the reason why this is relevant is because we need to know where the whales are accumulating. I mean, those are also positions that we have open too, potentially, so you got to keep that in mind. But generally speaking, understanding liquidation is helpful, but it's not like it shouldn't be your only guide. It's just kind of a complementing factor we need to understand. So with less liquidation potential to the downside, less liquidation to occur, we can summarize that the price may be getting closer to its bottom, okay? Now, a lot of this hinges on Bitcoin. If it wants to come down and retest that low 30,000 range, I've been adding pretty copious amounts to my spot bag between 38.5 and 39.5. Just again, me personally, I'm going to keep adding. I got larger positions as the price continues closer to that 30,000 range, but generally speaking, I would recommend adding to your spot portfolio if possible. This could be the bottom, but we don't truly know, okay? It's probably best to presume we're going to continue lower. We're below 50 in the 20-day SMA, above the 100, which is averaging itself out close to that $27 mark, so we could see more support there. Furthermore, we can see the MACD is diverging. Big surprise there. The stochastic's trying to converge, but hasn't yet. Money flow index and RSI coming down below 50, getting closer to 30 on the traditional RSI. But again, we're at a 9+1, so basically 10 days straight of bearish divergence. Okay, so it has to come to an end at one point, right? You'd like to assume that happens, right? Never assume in trading. You only want to presume. It's much better. Just kidding. Obviously, there's no difference. So if we see here, we had a 9 on TD sequential, then we had this next leg down. That's pretty much a standard liquidity sweep where the price action yanks down one more time to kind of wipe out any potential late longs. We can see here as well, we're at a 9 before the price pulled back. So we've seen quite a few little manipulation candles and candle wicks, of course, here. So normal, super common. It's almost laughable how normal this is. Again, I know it sucks because it's usually people losing a bunch of money at the same time, but it's so common with high leverage that I always recommend low leverage, low position sizing. Honestly, all those profits I shared with you earlier, 5x leverage trades. 10x for Bitcoin, Ethereum, but everything else is almost always 5x. So nothing more than a 5x, I would say, for altcoins, just because of how sporadic they are. Bitcoin, you can get away with 10x, and same thing with ETH as well. Anyways, looking here, this is the RSI and MACD, stochastic, all this here. We're all very low. Stochastic is swinging up on the 4 hour. That's pretty common when you have such an overextension to the downside. I mean, it can go sideways and it'll still look like it's coming up, right? So I wouldn't read into that. MACD here, it's still diverging, but not as hard as it was before. So again, we're losing momentum on the downside. Does this mean you take a long position because the MACD is swinging up? No, pop quiz, fail. You do not do that. That's not how it works. We're below all moving averages. We're running concurrent with the 20-day SMA on this descending trend line until we are comfortably above that level for hours, almost just say probably better off days. We're going to be in a position where the price actually is going to continue lower. We have to presume it will until it doesn't. Moving here onto the Ichimoku cloud, we can kind of see this is just a good little indication of letting us know, hey, we are on the wrong side of tracks. Not only are we below the descending trend, we're below the cloud as well. So what we're looking for here, and we're seeing a similar pattern on Solana. The price came up here to wick off of the 2950. So 2950 is a resistance. Ideally, we're going to establish a higher low somewhere in this range. And then we're going to establish a higher high, and then another higher low here. This is when we want to consider entry. And you guessed it, yeah, that's probably going to be about no less than 1 to 2 days from now. So the truth is, today being Tuesday, we probably won't have any good consideration for an entry between now and Thursday, right? So Thursday, Friday, we might have better opportunities for long positions. It's going to require Bitcoin to go sideways and hang out and relax in this range between 38.5 and 41,000 as a rough estimate. And ideally, Bitcoin's going to just bounce up and down in that range until it establishes a higher low. At that point, we can have more confidence in taking long positions. But between now and then, there's literally 0 reasons to take a long. Now, again, I need to clarify this too, because people seem to think that when I say don't take a long position, you instantly take a short. That's referred to as careless behavior, and that is what gamblers do. They instantly turn position because it's not going the one way they want it to. So be very careful doing that. That's all I can say. I've seen destroyed accounts start with that same strategy. Okay. Again, it's not healthy to do that. So again, just because you're not going one way doesn't mean it has to go the other. 95% of trading is waiting for the right time, which is what I like to do, and which I like to reaffirm and reiterate to my members. Some people get really impatient. They'll cancel and be like, oh, I don't want this. I don't want this. He doesn't send 5 signals every day. I'm sorry I can't honor you with that, but I can tell you that I got a lot of traders underneath me, and I try to trade responsibly for my own reasons, and I think that it's important that you do as well. So please watch through my Trading University videos available on the website to our current members. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a site linked down below. You can check that out for yourself, and again, have access to these types of signals here if you're kind of curious how they work. Every trade is sent with a specific parameters in place, so you know all the positions, all the entry targets, and exit targets. Okay, pretty straightforward. Other than that, make sure you check this out too. This is extremely important. If you need a KYC or VPN or a non-required KYC or VPN exchange, one that essentially allows you to trade without all that craziness, be sure to check out Bitunix Phenomenal Exchange. They're our go-to for our US, Canadian, and other country members that essentially have that restriction in place. So again, check them out in your own time. It's very, very cool. Thank you again, Bitunix, for the awesome opportunities. I'll post our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord playout charts here momentarily. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you again so much for watching. Please like and follow if you haven't already. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.